So many white conservatives are furious that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are talking down to them the same way they've all talked down to black people, especially as it relates to conversations about affirmative action these past few years. For context, when I was a student at Yale, I studied this exact dynamic extensively and even wrote an op-ed about it in the Washington Post. And it's so interesting to see both sides of this so-called Republican Civil War implode over ideologies that we've been warning everyone about for years. And to clarify, on one hand, native-born American workers are told that they're too culturally deficient to compete in the job market. They're being told to ignore systemic problems like the failing education system, hyper-capitalist hiring practices that prioritize cost-cutting over worker well-being, and the lack of investment in societal infrastructure and resources that would increase pathways to upward mobility. And instead they're being told that rooting for the wrong TV characters and wanting to have a prom queen is the reason they're not eligible for competitive job opportunities. And it's rich because when we argued that systemic barriers need to be removed for black and brown communities, these same conservatives dismissed us. They claim that discrimination doesn't exist, that America is more or less a perfect meritocracy, and that black people just need to stop being lazy and quit listening to rap music to be successful. And now they're being hit with the same asinine rhetoric about culture that they once weaponized. And on the other hand, we're seeing overt racism and xenophobia being directed at Vivek Ramaswamy and, very unfortunately, the entire South Asian community writ large. From the Great Replacement theory to blatantly racist memes, these attacks show how deeply entrenched American racism still is today. But of course, when we were all warning about this before, Vivek Ramaswamy was one of the main people playing it down. In a prior situation where conservatives circulated a meme of him dressed up as a 7-Eleven worker, he went on a podcast and laughed it off. And then he practically called the people that were offended and trying to defend him too woke, saying it was just a harmless joke. And now he's facing an intensified version of the prejudice he helped excuse, and he's spiraling. Trump isn't even in office, and yet the conservative movement is already fracturing under the weight of its own contradictions. And both sides of this issue are reaping what they've sown. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments and follow for more.